Thank you all for joining us today on our virtual real estate webinar series. And together, all of us are going to do something very exciting. And I'm just so happy that all of you are here today. So Patrice, real quick, I noticed that you raised your hand just a moment ago in the chat. I wanted to know what we could do to help. If you could type your question in the chat, I would appreciate it, and let me know. And then all of you type your questions in the chat as we go along. But the big purpose of today is to explain what our opportunities are, how we can all do some phenomenal things together, and actually to get all of us marching in the same direction and doing some pretty phenomenal things. So I appreciate all of you joining today. We are recording this for those that only have text capability. I got a message from someone. So we will be recording this and putting this then inside of RealSmart Agent for all of you to view later. So thank you for joining us today. I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart. And I want to start today by talking about opportunities. Obviously, we all as real estate professionals, real estate agents, realtors, we are facing a challenge. And there is together there are being restrictions put on us throughout the industry and a country, and not just our industry, but all of us together. And together, though, we can all get through this. And I just want to say that I appreciate all of you. I hope that all of you are safe, healthy, that your families are safe as well. And we all know how serious this is. But together, we can do something phenomenal, and we can get through this together. And I've said this in a couple of the regional meetings lately, there's no other group of people I'd rather go through this with than all of you. So let's take a minute in the midst of the challenges that we're facing, and let's talk about opportunities. Sometimes, often, when we're doing strategic planning or in strategic planning books, you're often talking about what are your threats and what are your opportunities. And often threats and opportunities are closely related. And so one of our opportunities as a company is to address virtual real estate. Now, before I get into that, I put up on the screen here, the National Association of Realtors has created a resource center for all of you. If you haven't yet gone to visit nar.com or .realtor/coronavirus, you are missing a resource. There is resource and information there for you, for your broker, for consumers, for homeowners, and for home buyers. There's even information about the Small Business Administration CARES Act, the Small Business Administration loans. The National Association has written up answers about what to do in certain scenarios when they come up with buyers or sellers. And they've been very helpful. And a lot of the brokers that we've been doing calls with, when they're doing calls with their agents, they're referring to this resource to read those situation reports and how the National Association of Realtors has responded and written things up. Obviously, you need to make sure you're following your broker's guidance locally, because everything's different in each local area around the country. But and I want to make sure here I'm recording, which I am, okay. But you all can use this as a resource, and I hope you put those answers to work for you. So nar.realtor/coronavirus. All right, now, years ago, online dating was not even a thing. And when it first came out, some considered it to be weird. Some considered it awkward. Why would I do that? It was not socially accepted. And then all of a sudden, within a short amount of time, online dating really took off. And I think a recent statistic that I saw was 2 years ago, 39% of all spouses or significant others, people found their spouses or significant others online. That's almost 40%, and that's a stat from 2 years ago. So recently, Lynn Shute, our broker up in Colorado, she sent me this graphic, and it says, if you can choose your spouse online, you can choose your house online. And I laughed when I first saw it, and I have yet to post it. I'm going to post it on social media because I do wholly believe in this. But since Lynn sent it to me, I started to do some research, and I started to think about what's actually going on in our industry. And we have a real opportunity in here to be at the forefront of a cultural shift, just like online dating was. So I want you to think for a minute about what you thought of first time online dating the first time you heard about it. And then think about Uber the first time you heard about it. Why would I get in the back of a stranger's car? Why would I do that? And, it just seems a little bit weird, right? But yet, in a short time period, a very fast time period, it became socially accepted. And that is what is happening right now in real estate. There are changes going on, and things that 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago would have been considered weird or unheard of are now socially accepted and are now happening. And I'm talking about homeowners and home buyers being very much more involved in the transaction than they used to be, about home buyers accepting a home seller walking through a home with a camera and a virtual tour instead of hiring a photographer or an expensive company to do that. And virtual, Zoom, everything. How many of you 2 months ago were using Zoom every single day? How many of you today are? How many, take that across our whole country, how many consumers are using Zoom? And so Zoom, I was telling one of our marketing teammates earlier today, last night, I've been watching Jimmy Fallon at night on his Tonight Show, and every night they're on Zoom. Last night, he had the Beastie Boys on Zoom with him, and they used the word Zoom software, which you are all on right now, probably 4 or 5 or 6 times in a normal course of conversation, and talking about how they're Zooming every day. So Zoom and all these things are happening very, very quickly and becoming, a norm. So let me tell you what's going on in the industry, and then we're going to talk about what we can do together. This was an email someone sent me this week from the California Desert Association of Realtors. And they have made a new designation and a new section called virtual open houses and virtual tours of homes and virtual showings. And they are telling their constituents that they are supporting 12 different types of software. So someone texted in the chat a moment ago, hey, Zoom might have some security issues. There are other types of software that also enable this same thing to happen. So whatever type of software you're comfortable with, there is going to be capabilities and opportunities for you in the real estate industry. Within 2 days, I received 2 more statewide notices from Arizona, from the CDAR from the state of Colorado, where they too, all of them are on Flex MLS, and Flex MLS is offering this capability. Now take that to Paragon MLS and CoreLogic Matrix MLS. They are now adding that capability, and the marketing team has been researching, and some of that is going to be in next week's class on Monday, where we're going to talk about the MLSs and how you work with this in the MLS. Now, I want you to know that your company, HomeSmart, and the National Association of Realtors have all been pushing on the forefront with the MLSs to adapt. They're working with governmental agencies. We're working with the MLSs, and we're talking about, okay, then how do we adapt and how do we conduct these virtual open houses? So this is a screenshot from one of the MLSs showing how when you go in and you create an open house, it used to just be given that it was in person. Well, now they've added a new drop-down menu so that you can choose in-person or virtual. Well, there are some states, for example, in the state of Colorado, in the last 48 hours, has been locked down where a virtual open house is not even allowed at all. And so they've taken now in the MLS the in-person tab away, and virtual is the only option. In some of our locations, in-person or virtual is there. But you as a realtor need to know that it's there as a real estate agent, and you need to begin to go in there and understand and learn the software and then begin to market your homes and take advantage of those opportunities. And that's what today's all about. Now, one of the other things is the MLSs are beginning to define different terminology and new terminology that we haven't had before. So they're talking about, well, what is an open house? What is a tour of homes? What is a virtual open house? And what are the differences? So I'm going to share in a moment real quick for you some of that phraseology and some of those terms, just so we can set a foundation on which we can build upon and we can all be on the same page. But real quick, I wanted to show you, if you go in to some of these MLSs and you put a virtual open house, what happens is when you go search then the MLS for open houses, it puts a new little blue icon next to the open houses that are available for virtual open houses or virtual showings. Now, it's important to note this is not yet searchable, and we are working to try to make it searchable either with the MLSs or with the MLS feeds, or even at HomeSmart in Real Smart Agent. We're trying to do some different things so that you and consumers can really begin to search better for virtual open houses. But as of right now, you do a search in the MLS, it'll return all open houses, but then the ones next to it that are virtual will have a virtual button. Well, let's talk about opportunity. What about in the state of Colorado right now where virtual or open houses are not allowed? But if you go in and you put a virtual open house in, and you say that you have virtual capability and you learn how to do that and you start to conduct that with your buyer and seller and the buyer and seller real estate agents, all of a sudden you go into the MLS, you put virtual. When someone searches for open houses, the only ones that return are the virtual, because the non-virtual are not even allowed. And I imagine right now that that list is pretty small. So if all of you listening today jump on board and we start to do this together, that virtual search is going to be filled with HomeSmart searches of HomeSmart agents and HomeSmart listings, helping HomeSmart buyers search for virtual homes or homes virtually. And I'll get to answer the question about, but wait a minute, nobody's buying a home virtually. I've interviewed so many agents over the last 2 weeks, and I assure you that business is being done virtually. I hope some of you, if you're on the call, can type in the chat about how you're conducting transactions virtually and business is closing. Because in some states, they've been doing this for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. They're ahead of everyone else, and they don't have a choice, and they're still conducting business virtually. So it is being done. So I hope that you all see the opportunity here and that you can participate. Now, this is the concept here of then how we can shift. And someone asked the question, what's the difference between a virtual versus a virtual tour? I have some definitions from the MLSs and that we're gonna operate on, and I have those in 2 slides. But first I want you to see visually, so this is the concept. You have a virtual open house. This is how a virtual open house could work, or how a virtual showing could work. This is a screenshot of an iPad with prospective buyers, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, and the home seller all on one Zoom meeting, or they're on a FaceTime. In this case, this is a FaceTime type showing. And all 4 parties are on the call, on the live virtual showing, and all of them are in 4 separate places. In this case, the home seller has their camera, their mobile device, whether it be a laptop, an iPhone, any type of a smartphone, a tablet device. They have it flipped around so the camera is showing the home and it's not showing the face of the seller. And the buyers are directing the seller where to walk to and through in the house and show them the home virtually. So this is happening. And here's another concept of it, just to communicate what we're trying to envision here. Imagine marketing that you have that can show, hey, this home, and you have the home seller on the left shooting the home, and then on the right-hand side, you've got the prospective buyers, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, and that same kitchen photograph, being shot virtually, and you're doing a walk-through virtually of houses, or you're doing a virtual showing. So here are the terms. Let's all talk about these real quick, and then we'll answer some of the questions in the class. It says, what is an open house? An open house, we all know what that is. It's a scheduled event at a designated time where realtors hold a house open and potential buyers walk through. It's also called a physical showing or a traditional in-person open house. In Colorado right now, this is not allowed. In some places, in many places in the country, this isn't allowed, or it certainly isn't deemed socially acceptable, or it needs to be done in a very smart way. So that's where the MLSs then are coming up with what is a virtual open house. So the difference is that a virtual open house is a live scheduled event for a designated amount of time. So say from 12 noon to 1 p.m., where an agent holds the house open, but hosts it virtually by posting an invitation link or sending out an invite via Zoom, FaceTime, Facebook Live, Facebook Messenger, etc. So imagine a social media post being posted that says, open house right now from 1 to 2 o'clock. Click this link and enter the open house. Here, the home seller or the agent is physically at the listing and gives a tour of the property via the meeting or the virtual software. The open house audience can view the live stream, can interact with the agent and ask questions. Agents can even share files and other information and screens as well. This is terminology that many of the MLSs are adopting. It's going to be slightly different in each state, but this is what a virtual open house is. And in some cases, take Colorado right now, the home seller has to be the one physically walking through the home at the listing, giving the tour, instead of the agent. In some states, the agent can physically walk through and be the one giving the listing tour. And let's say it's an unoccupied home. In some states, the agent can go to that home unoccupied and be walking through the home and giving virtual tours via this meeting software, all 12 different types that are supported by the MLS, Zoom, FaceTime, Facebook Live, etc. And in other cases, some states like Illinois, we were talking yesterday, right now, if a home is unoccupied, their agents are not allowed inside those homes. So we'll talk about those challenges in a moment, but this sets the stage for our opportunity right now to be listing live virtual open houses and live virtual showings. Now, what's the difference between a live virtual open house and a live virtual showing? A live virtual showing is where an agent schedules a showing with a prospective buyer and their agent, but hosts it virtually, setting up and sending an invite via Zoom, FaceTime, Facebook Live, Facebook Messenger, etc. With a virtual showing, however, the homeowner or the agent would be physically be at the listing, same thing, but it's different from a virtual open house because in this case, it's a one-on-one meeting and it's a one-on-one set time at, say, exactly 1 p.m. This is often going to be set up, and many of you around the country use showing time inside of your MLS. So just how you would go into showing time before and you would schedule and coordinate that realtor to realtor with the buyer and the seller, you would do the same thing. You're going to coordinate it inside showing time, but you're going to label it and designate and start using the terminology that this is a live virtual showing, not an in-person physical showing. The client can view the home by live stream and can interact with their agent and ask questions. So someone's asking, can we get a copy of the slide? And I am going to send out a copy of PDF of this presentation to all of you that are in attendance today, and we will email you a low-res copy of this presentation so you can have this terminology. And this is part one of 4 short trainings, because we really need to have you participate in all 4, and you'll understand in a minute about what we're trying to accomplish all together, all of us around the country. And that's what, so you're gonna need to attend the other classes next week as well. Now, here's some really neat things. Everybody makes fun of me when I say neat because I'm from Indiana, but I think this is awesome, that it is even moving into realtor tours. A terminology for a live virtual realtor tour is a virtual realtor tour that is a live scheduled event where an agent shows a group or a seller, home seller, walking through their home, shows a group of buyer's agents a property virtually using a tool like Zoom, FaceTime, Facebook Live, Facebook Messenger, etc. Here, the home seller or the agent is physically at the listing and gives a live tour of the property to 20 realtors, 40 realtors, just the way we used to do caravans and realtor tours, but they're doing it this time via meeting or virtual software. Isn't that awesome? That, you know, instead of doing a caravan and having 10 cars and 20 realtors follow each other around the city, virtual realtor tours are now going to start to happen online, and we, HomeSmart, are going to be on the front edge of that, and we're going to lead it, and you're going to see how we're going to do that, because we're going to teach you all how to do this. And once you learn how to do it, you get experienced at doing it, then we can start to coordinate and host these and lead the industry. And someone asked earlier, what's a virtual tour? A virtual tour, the MLSs are saying, is the same thing it always was, and it stays in the old section of the MLS. A virtual tour is a digital walkthrough of a property by way of a slideshow or pre-recorded video. It is not scheduled, it is not live, and it does not go in the live showing area or the live open house area. It goes in the same area it did before, pre-recorded virtual tours. And that's going to be important to note when you're talking to consumers. If you just say, oh, virtual tour, customers are going to think, yeah, that's been done forever. Well, we need to change our terminology and use the new terminology. No, wait a minute, I'm talking about a live virtual tour, virtual showing that's happening live via meeting software. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. So lastly, what is a live virtual listing appointment? A live virtual listing appointment is where a prospective seller or sellers meet virtually with you, a prospective seller's real estate agent, via Zoom, FaceTime, Facebook Live, Facebook Messenger, etc. It's a one-on-one meeting. It's the same thing as a traditional listing appointment, but instead of you sitting across the coffee table, you're now interacting and viewing live with the prospect and you, the agent. You're asking questions, you're sharing your desktop, you're sharing files, you're even going through documents together, and you can even do DocuSign and live signing and all of that together. So nothing should prevent you right now from winning a listing, because you can do this virtually. But you need to learn, well, how do you do a virtual listing appointment? And what do you need to do different than you did before? And you're going to need to practice it. And that's what this is all about. So we often talk about how we as a company, HomeSmart, is very agile and mobile. Our company is adapted. We're all working virtually. We're working from home where we need to, and our technology is enabling us to still conduct business and transactions, and we are still here to support you. One of the agents sent me something this week. I got to give a big shout out to our broker and franchise owner in Chicago, Bill Fleming, sent me what I'm going to show you next. And it ties into how agents, real estate professionals, companies in the industry, and our industry is agile and mobile, and we're adapting. There are companies now in Chicago that are having really small mini drones that the drone operator stands out in front of the home, and the homeowner opens up a window or a door, and the drone flies through the home and creates a video or a tour of the home without the photographer ever entering the home. So watch this video and just get an idea about how the industry's adapting, consumers are adapting, and real estate is going virtual. Watch this video.
Stop right there. I've got the next big thing for you. We've custom built indoor real estate drones to fly through all your listings. Yep, we built the whole thing from the bottom up. Now we can fly inside your listings from outside the home. With fully insured and licensed pilots, there's no property that we can't tackle. Click today and get 20% off your indoor drone video. You won't regret it.
My point in showing that is that, see if I can go on to the next slide here. All right. My point in showing that is that we are agile, and we are here to serve your customers, you as our agents, and you're here to serve your customers, and we can adapt. Now, that's not available in every city. That's available in Chicago. Bill Fleming, if you're on the call, someone wants to know the name of the company, maybe type it in the chat if you have it. If not, we'll have to find out who that is. But my point is each local market is different. Each local market, some people, photographers, are allowed still inside the home. And you can go create that video tour. And I'm going to be walking through next Monday and showing you how the different ways that you can create it. We just have to adapt in our markets. But the thing that I'm encouraged about is no matter what we're facing economically, we have tools, we have resources, we have opportunities to combat it. And your company, HomeSmart, your brokerage, is going to give you the tools and teach you how to do it. And this is how it's going to work. This week, we recorded, and I got to give a big shout out to Chris Lardy, HomeSmart Evergreen in Orange County, California. He actually recorded for me so I could share it with all of you, a virtual showing. In the upper left corner is the buyer's agent. Chris being the listing agent, the seller's agent in the upper right corner. The home seller is in the lower left corner, and the home buyer is in the lower right corner. This is on Zoom. And they are doing a virtual showing, and they are doing it basically with these home buyers' information, their identity shielded. And the home buyer and the home buyer's agent are texting back and forth via the chat. So in this case, I did a screenshot real quick. It's a live video showing a tour actually happening and business being conducted. And in this case, Chris was telling me, that this home did have a live virtual tour just like this, and the homeowner put a offer in on the home, put their earnest money down, and is days away from actually closing. And this has all been going on during a shelter-in-place environment. Business is still being done. Chris is also doing FaceTime, or Zoom or FaceTime, either or, listing appointments, and he's winning listings, and he's still taking listings because he's doing live virtual listing appointments with customers. So in this case, the screenshot, the home buyer had asked, how tall are the ceilings? And so what happened was the home seller, walking through the home, pivoted their phone and raised it up and looked at the ceiling. And then Chris, the only two that are speaking on this call, it's important to note, are the two realtors. So Chris, being the seller's agent, and the buyer's agent, were the two that were communicating. Oftentimes you would ask your home seller to leave the home for 2 hours. I have a showing. So Chris instructs the home seller, don't speak, don't get emotional, no matter what they say. Just let me handle it as your professional. You're not a licensed agent. You need to watch what you say, so it's better just not to say anything and let me do the talking for you and protect yourself. But you do need to take instruction, and when the home buyer walks around, says they want to see the ceiling, point it up and show us the ceiling. And that's, in this case, what the home seller is doing. In Colorado, one of the agents yesterday, Sherry, was saying that they're getting the home sellers involved more, and the home sellers want to be involved more in the midst of what we're all facing together. And I had an agent question me that, well, the home sellers, do they really want to do this? They do. They're at a shelter in place too, in many cases. And they have their home on the market. They want to sell their home. They are happy to jump in and help and assist with this. And so all you need to do is learn how to do it and take your business virtual and include them and get them to participate in the showing. Excuse me. So in addition, sorry, I have a dry throat. I've been talking an awful lot the last couple of days. All right. This is a screenshot showing here real quick of the of FaceTime. And FaceTime, in this case, you can see there could be 4 parties up top: the buyer's agent, the buyer, the seller's agent, the home seller, which would be flipped around doing a tour of the home. But then the buyers could also invite their sister-in-law, their brother-in-law, their mom, their dad, and the family to kind of tour the home as well. Hey, we're really thinking about buying this. What do you all think? This can be used for inspections. I've heard of inspectors going through homes when they are doing the inspection, and they're actually videotaping, or they're filming, or they're doing just certain things. And in some cases where an inspector can't walk through the home, I'm throwing out the option. Could an inspector have the home seller walk through the home, flick on all the light switches for me, flick on the garbage disposal for me, flick on, turn the switch over here so I can see. I think that the industry is going to adapt virtually as we need it to. And this is just showing how it can include even more than 4 parties, and it can include people spread out throughout a whole city. Whereas maybe mom and dad before couldn't participate in a tour, they can now, and the daughter wants them to do that. So I think the thing I want you to think about as well, what happens after the restrictions are listed as well? Will business still be being done virtually? And many consultants and people believe, and myself included, that a lot of this is still going to take place because people are going to realize, instead of driving an hour in traffic, I can do this now virtually, and I can include my mom and dad, and I can include other things. One of the things, I see a note there, someone says FaceTime is best for live open houses. One of the things I've heard is, because when you flip the camera around and you're showing the camera on the other side, you can actually see what the person is seeing on the other end when you use FaceTime. So it's a great tool. I've heard many agents say FaceTime is the best tool for doing a live showing or for a live virtual tour. But again, it needs to be what you're comfortable with, and it's super easy to learn how to do. It's also mobile, so people can do it mobilely. Imagine someone driving in their car out front and they see a sign out front that says, this home is available for a live virtual tour right now. And they can tour it from their mobile, or they can tour it from their mobile phone on their bed instead of watching Netflix. So we'll get to that in a minute. Some companies are starting to do promotion. FaceTime tours now available. Hey, I now offer personalized live tours via FaceTime, via Skype. So the marketing team has been busy creating marketing graphics to show you all of this, and that's going to come on Monday and Tuesday's call, because we're going to show you how to create on Monday, how to create demand and create marketing for this, and we're going to unveil all of the marketing tools. Excuse me. So to me, this is a big opportunity. Now, the reason why we called you all together here on this call is we need to do this all together, because this is more than just one or two of us trying to do this. It's a big opportunity, and I have a little bit of dream that I want to share with all of you. What if someday soon, HomeSmart was the first company in the nation to provide live virtual showings in mass, provide live virtual open houses in mass, provide nationwide a live virtual open house weekend? And so that's what we would love to do. If you remember last year, we did 2 years in a row now. We've picked a weekend and we've done a open house weekend, a national open house weekend, where all across the country, we did open houses across the HomeSmart network. So we did email signatures, we did social media graphics, we did flyers, we did training, we did everything. And we wanted to do, as a company, a live national virtual open house weekend, but we can't do that until we teach all of you how to do these open houses virtually. If you remember, we also did a webinar series when we talked about how to do open houses and how to get results and how to do them effectively. So here's the challenge. If I said right now, hey, all of you, we want to do a live open house weekend. We've done this before. You all know how to do it. But if we said, hey, everyone, we want to do a live virtual open house weekend. Now watch, I'm going to cover up the date real quick, because this isn't a live date yet, okay? But if we said we want to do a live virtual open house weekend, we can't do that until you are all ready, until you're trained and you know how to do open houses, how to use the software virtually, how to do virtual tours, how to do virtual showings, and then we can market it and we can create. So that's what the concept is. So I want to know, if we do an open house weekend, a live virtual open house weekend across the country, and we only have 10 HomeSmart agents that know how to do it and 10 HomeSmart agents that participate, we're not going to get the same results that we could get if we all band together and do this. So this is an example. The marketing team did a rough layout of how we could market out a virtual open house weekend across the country. The problem is that red square at the bottom, I need to add a date in there. Before we do that, we have to train you all, and this is how. Now, here's some graphics that they're working on, and we're going to share these all with you on Monday. But like, hey, I now offer live virtual open houses via Zoom. I now offer live virtual showings via Zoom. I offer it via FaceTime, offer it via Facebook Live, whatever, right? So how many of you would like graphics like this that we can begin to market? We now are offering Facebook Live virtual open houses, and you can see the example there of how everyone is basically like, you're looking at a couch there showing on the home, but then it's blacked out, right? So here's what we need to think about for a minute. When we do open houses physically the way we used to be successful, we have to promote them ahead of time. We have to dazzle people when they're there at the open house, and then we convert them. So when we did our open house training before, we worked it into the phraseology, promote, dazzle, and convert, which is also the marketing we do before, what we do during or at the open house, and then what do we do after. So we need to take this from the old traditional way of doing open houses and now move it online. And if we do that, we're going to do more transactions, and we're going to fight these restrictions that are being placed on us, and we're still going to conduct business. And ultimately, our goal of all of us on the call is to serve the consumer. It's to help buyers and sellers when they need to buy and sell a home, and when they want to buy and sell a home, no matter what they're facing economically or restriction-wise with what's going on in our country. So here's how this needs to happen, okay? Number one, we need to all do this together. We need to have massive participation from every one of you on the call. I need to explain to you about what needs to happen. We need to teach all of you how to market this to realtors. Other realtors don't even know this is possible. And if you can market it to realtors, they might represent 500 buyers. So then we're marketing it out to the consumer as well. So we need to teach you how to market this, how to communicate it, and how to educate the consumer, how to educate the realtor, and communicate to the realtor and the consumer, and how to market it. Then we need to train you on how to do it on the MLS. We need to make you aware of all the new marketing, MLS marketing, social media marketing, signage, traditional marketing. How about if you had a yard sign out in front of the house and next to it was an H-frame facing the street? This home is available for a live virtual tour. So let's say we do all that. We have to get you to use it. We have to convince you to try it. And we have to have you practice it and start to use it, because the first couple times, you might need to learn, and it might not go as well as a live traditional open house used to do, because you're used to doing those. So we've got to get you out there and get you using it before we can do the National Open House Weekend. And once you all become experts at it, and we know how to do this and we know how to market it, then we're going to do that. So we have to train you on the live virtual meeting software. That's what we're doing next Tuesday. Monday's the marketing, Tuesday's the virtual meeting software, and Tuesday and Wednesday are the virtual meeting software and the different ways and the different types of meetings to hold. Then we need to get you to use it, convince you to try it, have you become experts at it, and then close transactions with it, right? So that's the plan. And then we're going to pick a weekend for the HomeSmart's National Virtual Open House Weekend. We market it, you market your listings, consumers and realtors participate all around the country. So here's the synopsis of what I was just talking about and what our plan is and what we need to do, right? So first thing, we got to teach, and you have to learn. I should have put another slide. You have to learn. We all have to try. You have to try it. You have to give it a try and get out of your comfort zone and practice. You got to practice it. You got to use it. And then you're going to use it on your first actual client. And then you're going to use it on your second. And then you're going to become experts. And then we as a company are going to lead the way, right? So if you want to, there's a question. If there's a HomeSmart staffer on the line, if you could type in the chat for me real quick. Someone said, I think, a good question, Mary. Mary's asking a question. There's no cell service. Any input? Yes, Mary, I'll come back and answer. Mary, you're asking about no input on cell service. Any input on this challenge? I do have answers for that, and I'll answer that on when I show you how. One of the ways that you can still do a live virtual showing, if you're allowed into the property, you can do a pre-recorded video of you doing the showing, but do not talk over the top of the tour as you walk through the home. And then you walk through that tour live with other people when they're at their computer and they're on hardwire and they can have an Ethernet cord. So if you're having problems with that, with mobile or with cell service, there are ways to get around that by doing a pre-recording. But it's not a pre-recorded virtual tour. You go through the pre-recording live. I'll go into depth more on that on Tuesday of next week. But there are answers for it. And if a staffer could type, if you want to register for these other classes real quick, homesmart.com/, I don't know what the URL is. Hopefully I have it at the end in the slides, okay? But if someone from the marketing team could type it in the chat, that would be great. Actually, I'll look it up right now. Apologize. Let me look it up because I just sent it to someone. The address, if you want to register for the other additional classes as well, is homesmart.com/virtual-open-house. So I'll type it in the chat here for you. homesmart.com/virtual open house. And in a minute, I'm going to go back through all your questions and I'm going to make sure I answer them all. And we will also answer them all on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But I need to know right now, are you all in for this plan right here? Teach, try, practice, use, become experts. Let's lead the way, right? So class 1 is going to be what we're doing right now. This is the overview, how we're going to pivot. It sets the plan, right? Class 2 is how do we market virtually? Class 3 and 4 are how do we conduct these actual virtual events, right? So here's the times. We also are going to repeat. We're going to do the 4 classes, and then we're going to repeat them again a couple days later. So today is April 10th, class 1. Class 2 is going to be Monday, the 13th. Class 3, Tuesday the 14th. Class 4, Wednesday the 15th. Then we're going to start over and do it again on April 21st, April 22nd, April 21st or 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Okay? So, and then we're going to get out there. We're going to try it. So here's what I want to do this week. That's kind of the plan. I set the stage. Now I need you to dip your toe in the water, and I need to actually have you start to do some of these items. So I'm going to hold a contest. This week, I put 7 different items up there on the screen to do a contest and set the stage for Monday. If you all can call 100 people, stay engaged with your marketplace. You don't have to call and say, hey, will you buy or sell real estate right now? Or do you want to buy or sell a home? Call 100 people and ask how you're doing. How are you doing? How's your health? How's your family? How's your wife doing? How's your husband doing? How are your children? Is there any information that you need me to get for you? Is there anything I can help you with? If you call 100 people, if you text 100 people, the contest basically is going to be, I put 7 things up there, and if you complete 4 of them, you're going to be entered to win a contest to win a HomeSmart lighted sign. And I made a post in the Smart Agent Ideas Facebook post. I'll show you that in a moment. I'm going to give away a bunch of these signs to those that go into the comments section and say, yes, I participated. But here's where you all can start to do this. You also attend the 4 virtual real estate trainings, which you're doing the first one right now. Post 10 times next week on social media. Set up a free Zoom account and do a Zoom. If you go to zoom.com right now, you're all using Zoom right now, but you're using it because you were sent an invite and you clicked on a link. How many of you could right now have your own account where you could go set up a open house or go set up a tour and invite other people? So you need to go to zoom.com and set up your own account. There's a free account as long as your activity is under 40 minutes or less. If you want to go over 40 minutes and if you want to begin to record using Zoom, then you can upgrade for $14.99. Additionally, there's FaceTime, there's Facebook Live, there's the other parts of software. Do whatever, but learn how to use this software and get used to it. So next week, when we train you on it, you're a little more adept and you're ready for the training. Also, we talked last week about, in a lot of the meetings that we had, we showed about, hold on, I'll show you here real quick, how to use HomeSmart Zoom backgrounds when you're doing Zoom meetings. So right now, look at my background and watch my screen. And if I can change my Zoom background. So I've got a nice HomeSmart professional background when I'm doing a listing appointment or when I'm doing some sort of showing or something like that. And if you want to, you can use the Zoom background. They're available in Smart Agent Ideas. All you have to do is go download them and put them to work. And if you don't want a Zoom background, then don't use one. But that's an option. But if you learn how to do it, you get credit. And if you do one live virtual listing appointment or a live virtual showing or a live virtual open house, then you completed that as well. Someone asked me, can I do a practice run? And I said, of course you can. Set up your own Zoom account. Ask your father-in-law to join. Ask your significant other to join and pretend that they're the realtor. Have one pretend that they're the home seller and do a quick little test and do a little walkthrough. Because next week we're going to ask you to do that so you can start to participate and we can do this together as a company. So I'll get to this here real quick. This is a screenshot real quick of our private Facebook group at HomeSmart called Smart Agent Ideas. If you open up your Facebook app and in the search engine, the search window, put Smart Agent, all one word, then Smart Agent Ideas will come up. You ask to join the group. And then when you join the group, then you can go post and enter the contest here. So here's my post, a screenshot from last night of the contest. I posted, hey, if you do these things right here, you'll be entered to win a virtual house. All you have to do is go into the comments and post the yes, I completed them. So I want you to see there right down at the bottom. Gerald, who's on the call today, said, I've completed number 4, number 5, number 6. I'm going to do number 3. Also hoping to be under contract with my first HomeSmart Elite transaction tomorrow, all completed virtually with clients in North Carolina. So kudos to you, Gerald. And you're entered to win in the contest. And my job, my purpose in doing this right now is to get you all using the software, doing these things. Next week, we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to talk about all the marketing, and we're actually going to live drive. We're going to go set up appointments. We're going to set up open houses live. We're going to have people walking through homes and everything live and showing how we can do this. And you can all participate. You can pop in and out. We'll talk about how you link it up. Then we're going to talk about doing live realtor tours. We're going to talk about doing live listing appointments. And you're going to hear from agents who have been doing it and who have been getting great results. So that's what we have for you here today. By the way, if you want the backgrounds that I just showed you, you can download them right from inside Smart Agent Ideas. But make sure you go back, post in the comments that you're in. Now, here's one more thing I want you to do. We have the comments section on this post. This is all about doing something together as a company. There's over 440 of you on the call right now, and I want to know if you're in on this. And so I know you've been typing it in the chat, but I want you to go to Smart Agent Ideas into the Facebook post, and I want you to post in the comments section that you're in. And then we're going to post progress throughout, because it also helps us when we see each other and we post our success. Someone just posted, hey, I have a live virtual appointment tomorrow. Yay. So I want that posted inside of Smart Agent Ideas, that all of you, it's a private Facebook group. That's where we help each other. That's where we encourage each other. That's where we learn from each other. Hey, I'm having trouble with FaceTime. How did you do this? And we can start to answer each other's questions. So I want you to go to the Facebook post I put in Smart Agent Ideas, and in the comments section of my post, I want you to type that you're in. And then after that, we'll start posting other posts where you can all help each other and answer each other's questions. Now, I see some things going back and forth about Zoom and security and what we've heard in the news about Zoom. Zoom has changed completely. They did a forced update the other day, and they have really tightened down their security. So Zoom, when you're only using it with 4 people, Zoom is saying that they have fixed all security issues. If you're comfortable with other software, by all means, you can use GoToMeeting, you can use WebEx, you can use some of the different ones that you can use. I've heard we as a company, in order to make the training simple, we're trying to standardize. They all work very similar to each other. So we're just going to try to standardize on Zoom, on Facebook Live, on FaceTime, and on Google Meet, I think is the other one that we're doing, because they all work really well for these virtual showings, and they all have mass adoption with the consumers. And what I'm hearing from most of the agents is that FaceTime, if you can learn how to do this on FaceTime, FaceTime really is the best way. When you have the home seller walking through the home, the seller can go in and block their caller ID real quick in their settings. We're going to show you how to do that as well. But you can actually see, the home seller can see on the screen everything that the buyer then is viewing. And realtors who have gone through and done virtual tours, they say that's what they found is the easiest to use. So I'm going to take a couple minutes. I'm going to answer questions for everyone. Someone in Pennsylvania just said they added a virtual open house section. Love hearing that. That's what this is all about. And so I'm going to go through all of your questions later because there's way too many to follow, but I'll answer the new ones as they come up. But please go into Real Smart Agent, Smart Agent Ideas, post in there that you're that you're available and you're in for, that you're all in on doing this, because if we all do this together, then we can affect change in our real estate community and make other realtors aware of what we're doing. And then other realtors will bring their clients in. And then we'll make the consumer aware. And we'll start to put it in our signage. We'll put it in our social media. We'll put it in the MLS. We'll put it on our websites. And we'll all begin to market this. And this will really take off, and we'll be a leader, and we're all going to benefit from this. So it's being done right now. Agents are getting success. We all just need to chime in and do together.